Hi friends from around the world, this is a bonus session and this is on trade dress. What is trade dress? Well, for some the trade dress, it is not a real IP right? But a trade dress is meaning a package, the appearance of the product, so it is more about design. But my point here is trade dress is in a larger sense, so much broader than that, and not defined to a certain IP right. Let's come to an example. If you have been in 5-star hotels or like, I don't know, Four Seasons or even in Holiday Inn, you may have noticed a certain good feeling, right? It may come from the smell, from the scent, which is displayed in the lobby, together with nice views of a bouquet of flower, of the decent colors, the furniture, the piano, the light, etc. So everything is displayed in a sense in order to involve you into that, to give you a good feeling, to see that you are okay. So it is it is about appealing to your unconscious. That is my point. So you notice perhaps the smell, but it is a good smell here. Oh, they have a smell of whatever, jasmine, or that's a good one. But you wouldn't recognize this as a trademark. It is possible to make a trademark smell mark, right? That is possible, you know that. But it is probably very difficult to get protection for it, because it is not really seen as an origin, as a product of origin linked to a producer or some source of origin. So, but the hotels, so to say, they try to involve you into something that you have a good feeling, appealing to all your senses, and then you have it in your brain, and you will make a next decision. I felt very good in that hotel. That is the name of the hotel, and I will go to to another city, to Johannesburg, and this hotel is there, and I will make the same decision. Now, this is about trademark. It is about design. It is about the smell. It is about the feeling. It is about many things which has not only to do with IP. Let's take another example. The Apple Store, right? Apple Store is very minimalistic. If you have been in an Apple Store in New York and you see a store of such kind in Rio de Janeiro, you think that is an Apple Store. It has characteristics, right? Characteristics which other stores do not have this, or should not have this, if this is a genuine Apple Store which would be adequately protected. Now, is the layout protected, so to say? Each location is a bit different, right? So the size of the stores are different, and the corners, they have to adapt to what is that location. You cannot probably build in the center of the city, so in prime locations, with total liberty of what you want to make. So you have to adapt. And there you get into some troubles to replicate what you have in your, so to say, flagship store. And that brings you also to certain difficulties in order to prohibit, to prevent from others to make the same outlet, the same appearance of outlet, the same, giving the same sensation of this this, you know, this store, this outlet, this magazine, this shop. Now, the Apple is one thing, the hotel is another thing, but let us take another look at what is in the fashion industry. And in the fashion industry, if you have gone along into the big cities, into prime locations, you also see a kind of repetition from the fashion industry in how to present the clothing to the public. Big windows already, and then the colors and the shelves, and you know, if you go into an Armani store or in a Gucci store, whatever it is, you see the same shelves, you see the same colors, you see the labels have a certain, you know, certain design, that the clothing of the employees are in a certain way, and perhaps also there's a scent, the same scent is there present as well. Not the same scent like in a hotel, but the same scent like in other Armani chain shops. So even for those, there is a possibility in order to appeal not only to your visual, to the trademark, there is also which goes something into the feeling. It is not only the feeling of glamour that we know already. The Dior and the Cartier, they have this glamour, the feeling of glamour. They convey glamour. The trademark can convey this. This we know already in its reputation. But this is about the five senses, the five senses you have. So they want to appeal to the five senses, which go then into the brain, which go into your subconscious. And that is my point here. It goes into the subconscious, and where the subconscious lies, that is very powerful. There lie the emotions, the well-being, the feeling, well, I feel well here. I will go back there. So this is the emotions where your decisions are being done, so to say, where this is the driver of your decisions. And this has been seen by those big brands who can do these kind of investigations and research on how the consumer's behavior is and so on. And they come up with this. Now, let's come to another. Well, enforcement is very difficult in these cases. So if you go into a shop, which is not Gucci, but it is very similar named, and you see the same shelves, and you see a label which is a kind of, well, not identical, but it is similar. And then you look at the clothing of the employees, and there's a possibility also that they are similar. And then the design of the different clothing, they are similar, not confusingly similar, but they are similar as well. And the layout and the smell, and well, everything makes you feel like it was the genuine store of Gucci. And then at a certain moment, the consumers get confused because they think, well, I don't think it was Gucci, but it feels so well, and it is so good, and it is like it is the Gucci store. Now, you want a kind of enforcement against this attack on the subconscious of the consumer, to the point that the consumers get confused about the origin of the goods. And how can you do this? Well, there the problem starts. Enforcement, it can be done with trademark, it can be done with designs, it can be done with some, you know, some other things, what you have, copyright or what. But will you get through these isolated enforcement of IP rights, will you get any result? Probably not. You will not. It is it is not about trademark infringement. It is about trademark infringement and much more. So unfair competition would be, for me, the only point where you would be able to get something out of it. But still, you as a lawyer, you need to get over this feeling of the consumers, the same feeling that the senses, what is perceived by the consumers. You need to get over this to the judge. So that's not an easy task to get feelings over, right? How would the judge feel in that store? We don't know how to give a clue to the judge with regard to that. That is not an easy task, but be prepared for it. Let me lastly raise one issue here, which is an Apple judgment from the European Court of Justice of 2014. Here on the screen, we have the trademark applied for. It was an international registration with different designations of national designations, and one was in Germany. And it was for class 35, retail of goods. Now, it went up to, it was refused by the German Trademark Office, and it went up to the litigation chain, and it went to the Supreme Court or the higher court, and they said, well, I'm not sure about it here. Can this be a trademark? Because the dimensions are not indicated, and we don't know exactly how to deal with it, whether this can be a European or a trademark in the sense of the trademark directive, which is more or less the same as the standard for the European trademark. Now, the European Court of Justice, they said, well, there are some conditions in order to be a trademark. One, it must be a sign, and that is a sign. It must be representable, and this is a representation of it. And it must have, so there's nothing about the dimensions. There must not be anything about a dimension. So it is quite about a castle. It could be a castle. So a castle, there was no problem that a castle can be, so to say, a trademark, right? So this also can be a trademark. But, you know, the real question is, well, one of the question is whether it is distinctive. That is another thing. So whether, how would be the perception of the consumers with regard to that design? It is a kind of design. But the real question would be, well, what can I do with it? If I see a similar layout, so the layout would be the outlet, the physical outlet is similar. Can I use the trademark in order to prohibit that the outlet has this appearance? I'm not sure. I would say no. And I don't know of any action which is based on that trademark. It is a trademark, so it is the origin of the goods, right? So it is not about the outlet or the design of the outlet, which with a trademark I can probably, I don't know, I don't feel it like that. Now, it seems to be a situation which is not being, so to say, addressed. It is an involvement of things which is business driven, which has to do with any IP right a bit, but which is not focused on one IP right. And the imitation, there would be the same. There would be not focused on trademark a bit, and design a bit, and copyright another bit, but not confusingly similar. So that is not would not be a problem here. But imagine, for example, in China. Where you have the big brands, so the big Western brands, so to say, they are present in the big cities, in Beijing and Shanghai and Guangzhou, the first tier cities, maybe also in the second tier cities, the third tier cities, they are not really present. Whether they are not interested or why not, that is another question, but they are not really present. And there, it may be possible that these kind of imitations, suggestive imitations, arise, and they give the feeling of those people there, of those people living in there in the third tier cities that are still 10 million of inhabitants, which get this feeling that must be genuine, that must be authentic. I have been in Beijing, the consumers say, and I'm here in Sichuan, and it is somehow very similar. If it is not the same chain, it must be connected anyway. So the smell tells me, or the good feeling I have inside, and what I see around me, that must be like this. Now, what is the situation in your home jurisdiction with regard to that? Is there any discussion about trade dress? Thanks for tuning in today.